Hello, welcome to SEO World. This is Arvin, and today I just wanted to brief you on what are autoresponders. So it sounds like a very complicated term, but it is actually very easy. So the most common form of autoresponders is what you would have seen. Then people go on vacation and they put on a message that from this day to this day I am on leave. So it gives you an automated message. So that is an example of an autoresponder. In marketing, how we can use this is whenever someone buys your ebook, whenever they sign up and they fill a form, instead of you manually sending them an ebook through an email, you set up an autoresponder that will email them the book directly as soon as they sign up. So this is one of the simple forms. So it goes complicated as you can't really have one autoresponder all the time. So a lot of people, what they do is they make an autoresponder for every time someone performs an action. So one of them would be if someone goes to your online store and buys something and they go to the checkout cart, but till the end they don't end up buying something. So you can have an autoresponder set up so that it reminds them to continue their transaction. This can be one way. Other ones can be is a sales sequence. A lot of people use it when they're launching their products. Instead of selling uh, by one email or convincing you by one email, a lot of people choose to follow up using autoresponders. So or instead of one email, they'll send you plenty of emails covering all the objections, and of course they first take your permission before sending the emails. And it might sound a little complicated, but it's all done automated through the softwares, and it is basically very easy once you set up, and you don't have to do anything. It runs on its own. So an autoresponder is a marketer's best friend. Why? Because it does all the heavy lifting for them, and you don't have to send emails one by one. And basically, it becomes like a system that literally that it works while you sleep, and because they are filled on time basis. So it's basically on say someone signs up to your website and they sign up to your autoresponder or an ebook, and once they sign up for the ebook, they'll usually get the ebook in around 5 minutes or 10 minutes. What you can do is, after they've got the ebook, maybe after 1 day or 2 days, you can follow up with them to see whether if they're interested in any other services which you offer, maybe. And the services have to be good, like you should be offering them something that's on a discount or a good deal. Basically, you don't always have to discount, but if it's something that is good upsell, you can upsell them on once you get to the autoresponders. And the other thing is product launch. When people do, the only difference is they create a sales letter, and the sales letter is divided into 7 or 10 parts, depending on the sales letter, into the objections that someone might have when they're buying their products. So basically, when you see all those complicated soap opera sequence, or those kind of sequence when people are talking about these things and sounds a lot complicated, that what are they doing. So basically what they have done is taken a sales letter and divided into small parts, covering all objections. So when you get the email, it's kind of a low pressure email that you don't feel that they are telling you to take an action, because they're all, it's a sales pitch where they're covering all the objections one by one. So that is an easy way. and it's not very complicated to create those autoresponders also. You don't I don't think if you can write a sales letter, you can write those sequences also. And the other thing is, some people talk about the soap opera sequence. So basically, this to keep this emails that you're getting, that people sometimes they don't like the dry emails, or they don't know that you're selling all the time. It becomes a little obvious. So to make it a little interesting, and to make sure that people actually end up reading your email, so it's kind of like people use hooks to grab your attention, but it's kind of in a longer way, that they make up a story so that you end up listening to the story. And the most popular form is that, like, so see those drama series like the Sopranos, or the any drama series that you watch online. So those kind of things, when you start watching one show, you end up watching the whole show, because you want to know what happens next. Is someone killed? Is someone is uh, this any story ends? You want to see what is the next step they'll take, and you get invested on those characters. So basically, those marketers, they have gone, they figure it out. They figured out that how to build continuity, these kind of emails, and they're just using the same concept to build autoresponders in such a way that it feels like you're listening to a story, but all along it's a sales pitch, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually good that if people are selling products that are good, and it is they're taking the effort to make sure that the person, they understand everything, they have all the questions answered when they're selling something, and for their customers also, they are entertained while they are buying something. So that is good for them also. And the important thing that you need to know is, your standard for the story should not be so high. So there's a quote that goes that a lot of people are living lives of quiet desperation. So what basically means is, a lot of people, their lives are as it is not so interesting right now. So it is not like a bad thing. Like, basically, they're just good people, and they're doing their jobs and all this. They have a routine going on. But to get if you come up with a story in the e-box, it's in itself is a pattern interrupt, because other people are not entertaining them, or making the effort to go into such detail and to get entertain them while they're selling something. So most of the business emails, if you have ever heard of them, they are actually very predictable, and it's just all like as per my last email, and those kind of sentences they keep on using. And it after times, they kind of it becomes very predictable for them, and it's kind of a dull, boring routine every day for them emails. And getting something in your email inbox that is mildly interesting, and it has a story on them, and it is something they're interested in. So obviously they tend to like it. So you don't need to be such a great storyteller. You just need to make the effort to make sure that your people are aware of it. In the copy, when they read, your customers are aware of it, and they see that copy, and it's not boring in that sense. So that's all the hype that you see, it's basically just this kind of things that is there. And of course, if someone is a good copywriter, they'll obviously write better stories, or better objections they will be covering, and those kind of things. But other than that, it's all pretty simple. It's something that you have to think that it's a very complicated process, or you need to take courses on it. You can take courses on it, but you can understand without that also what exactly is happening. So you can focus on those skills where you need to improve yourself. And about that funnel sequence, I'll explain it in another podcast. But for autoresponders, this is basically what you need to know. And the autoresponder softwares, most of them are very easy to operate. It's just that a lot of people there are from the older population. They are not so tech friendly, so that is why they try to make the software as easy as possible. But once you figure it out, I think anyone who can figure out an email or MS Word and those kind of softwares will be able to figure out those softwares eventually. I personally use Interspire, so it's kind of like you pay one-time thing, so I don't have to pay monthly every time. But there are other softwares also, whatever is suitable to you, you can do that. And basically, setting up an autoresponder is also very easy. It's just like if you're familiar with setting up a vacation autoresponder, it's just that instead of that one email, you are adding more emails to the sequence, and for every email you are adding the 24 hours to it, that this goes the next day, this goes the next day, this goes the next day. And the other variable could be the trigger sequence, that it could change. It could be like for clicked on an email or clicked on the link or form submission, those kind of things. So that is the only variables that are there, and it's also most of them are from a drop down menu, so you won't have to struggle so far. So that's all. How this makes easy for you, and it is. And once you use it, I think most of them will love it. They call it as it's a marketer's best friend, because it does send the email on your behalf. And once you set it up correctly, that is, the even if you're setting up an autoresponder, the copy should be good. So the advice for this is, first you test your test it manually, whether your sequence is an email that is good. Once you have something that is a winner or it performs well, you can then automate that sequence for all your customers. So you can test it first. It is a good idea to first test it, because if you're running it for a large campaigns for people, you have to have your best foot forward. Whoever, it's kind of like having a salesman for you, an imaginary salesman selling on your behalf, and your copy is the words that they speak. So you want to send your best salesman to do the job. So that's how you want to write the best copy for your autoresponders. Once you figure that out, you can use it. And by no ways you should be intimidated by it, because people use those complex terminologies and those kind of things, and they have this complex charts where they put like a lot of funnels, that this will happen for this will happen for this. Once you figure out this basic sequence, it is just an icing on the cake, the other things. And most of them are just a little bit complicated, like in the sense that they will add layers to the autoresponder, that if someone is interested, but they want to find out who are the people that are hyper responsive, the people that are a lot of interested, who have bought something once or twice from them. So they just build a better or a different autoresponder for people who want to receive more information or sell them on a bigger product. So those kind of things. So it's just a simple trigger sequence for them. So don't worry about that. You will figure it out eventually once you have mastered that autoresponder. So that's all for today. And most of the times, for autoresponder, if you're checking first, you don't need to buy what I bought at Interspire. You can just check out other autoresponders. Most have 1 month or something. They have a testing period. You can test those out, and It mostly people buy it not for the software, but how the deliverability is. So that is the reason, because people don't want to separately buy SMTP and go all through that stuff when you have those kind of software like this Interspire or any offline software. So whenever you're buying for them, you're mostly just buying for the deliverability. So keep those things in mind. And if you're starting out, you don't need those kind of accurate deliverability. In the sense, those huge corporations might be needing it. If you're starting with 1,000, 2,000 scale, any decent one will do. And make sure your the leads that you're doing getting, they at least once they once they subscribe, it has to be one opt-in confirmation. So they need to confirm the sequence. And that's all. If you have any questions, you can write, and I think that covers most of all for autoresponders. And that's all. Don't be intimidated by them. It's just like an email sequence, and repeat it over and over again. And people try to make it complicated, and hope this makes it simple. Thank you for listening.